Let's go! What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sport Brute content. And shout out to everybody that watched the last video where we traded our wheels and tires for this 1993 Honda 300. A lot of positive feedback was left, so that leads me to believe that y'all are excited for this build. And I think we need to do a shootout before we get too crazy with this thing. Me versus Lauren. 300 versus 400. Both small bore, four-wheel drive ATVs. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Y'all let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. But even with all those videos on the horizon, do not worry because we're not slowing down on the BruteForce content. So today we're going to be installing a Warrior snorkel kit. My very first snorkel kit that I've ever installed. This is just checking off another one of those dream boxes where at first it was getting the BruteForce, then it was the Outlaw 2s, and now we're freaking snorkeling this thing, and I cannot wait. So this, of course, being a CVT transmission, you have an intake, an exhaust, and of course the engine intake as well. So it's going to be a triple snorkel system, and then we're going to reroute all of our vent lines. And while we have it torn apart, all of our electrical connections that we find, we're going to be putting dielectric grease in there as well to help ensure that this thing is as waterproof as possible. Even though we've already taken a rack deep a couple of times, this is of course the smart thing to do and help ensure that you don't sink your four-wheeler, especially one like this that is not very inexpensive. Racks coming off, front plastics, basically all this on the front. So let's go ahead and throw the time lapse up and get started. I apologize in advance if the fan noise is messing with the audio, but it's literally the only thing keeping me alive right now in this miserable Alabama heat. So she is staying on. But as you just saw, we got her all torn apart. Honestly, it wasn't bad at all, just a little bit time consuming. There is a bunch of Phillips head bolts, some of which do have physical nuts you're gonna have to hold on to with pliers, the correct size wrench to take off, but everything else is just built into the plastic. So super easy to get all of those off, bunch of push pins up underneath. And then the thing that did stump me for just a second is there is a screw in the backside of both headlights that do hold the plastics on. So make sure you take those guys off. And then as you saw, everything just comes right off. Take your shifter off, your ignition, all good. Came off super smooth. Hopefully goes back on just as easy. Pretty good design from Kawasaki, I must say. So your intake for your transmission up nice and high. It does come in from the bottom. So, I mean, you could splash water up into there, but pretty good splash protection from the factory. Then the exhaust for the transmission is going to be the lowest point. So it goes up over the frame, obviously, and then right there, spraying out on the exhaust, which we've had basically from this part all the way back completely underwater, but we've never got it into the transmission. I've always pulled the drain after riding. It's never had anything in it, but you could definitely backfill the transmission. Kawasaki did design it very high, almost to the top of the air box, so draws in air from here into the box, into the filter, into the engine. So yeah, pretty good design from them. But obviously we need everything much, much higher. So today we're installing this setup right here, the Warrior snorkel kit. It should have everything that we need. So triple snorkels gonna come up right in front of the handlebars. There's our template to cut out from wherever our little hood is. I can't remember where I put it, but yeah, we got to figure out where all of these goes, but this should be literally it. And I did get some ultra black that I'm probably gonna put on everything just as an extra precaution because I'm a paranoid person. But yeah, I got to look through the instructions. We do have to do some cutting, some trimming, some moving of some components. So I'm gonna figure all that out. We'll get started. Let's go ahead and get our exhaust tubing off. Phillips head. Let's get the intake tube off. There. One more down here. Should be able to take her off. One over here, one up top over here, down below. So maybe it's just three. That's what it's looking like. I tell you what, it must be nice. Laid out in the freaking swimming pool. I'm out here dying. I'm about to go dive off in that thing, but I finally got that cover off. I did end up making the mistake of loosening the air box, taking it free. So undid these bolts and then undid the ones on the throttle bodies. I did the lower ones, and then it was an absolute freaking nightmare getting them back on there, getting this box back on the throttle bodies. They're not right until they're on there all the way. But basically what I ended up doing after about 30 minutes of fighting with it, got the front one pushed on. Actually, I got the back one pushed on, and then I got the front one halfway, and then I reached in there with a flathead and just pulled this front lip just a little bit, the rubber piece, and then I was able to push down and get it on there. So yeah, that was not fun. Slowly but surely, I've been working my way all the way around, taking every single electrical connection and fuse apart and putting some dielectric grease in there in hopes of preventing us from ever having any electrical issues as we inevitably go deeper and deeper on this four-wheeler. So literally every single connection that I could find, I've got dielectric grease in it, except for the ones on the throttle body, because there's just no physical way to get up in there. Can't even show you this back up in there. Just absolute nightmare. I'd have to take all this apart, and I ain't doing that. So I'm hoping that the factory sealed them up good. Some of the bigger connections already have some type of grease, lithium, I don't even know what it is, but most of the connections have nothing. And like ones back here, they were already slapped full of mud and stuff. So clean them babies out, put some grease in there. Not normal grease, dielectric grease. Okay, it ain't gonna work, you put normal grease in there. Put this stuff in there. So now we are done with this, and it is time to go ahead and grab the Ultra Black, because I didn't know, definitely wouldn't have gone as deep on this four-wheeler if I did know. The drain for the airbox, which is this guy, it's just the old pinching drain. Absolutely no type of security with this thing that could totally let water in, and we've definitely been that deep. So thank goodness we didn't sink this thing, but we are officially going to eliminate the drain. So we're filling this whole thing up with Ultra Black, sealing it from the inside, the outside. That hole will be no more. So I've got our airbox drain Ultra Blacked on the inside, and obviously y'all saw me fill it up. Maybe don't fill it up, just put it back on there and then fill it up from the inside. Probably your best bet. But next up is going to be running our vent line for our gas tank, which I've already pulled out of the frame. It's got that little nipple. I reached in here while I loosened this guy, but it ain't coming up. Pulled on this, used a flathead to kind of pry it from here, and it popped out. It made a screeching noise because I don't know what. This is a check valve. We're going to remove this guy right here, and then we're going to be using the supplied vent line hoses to extend this guy all the way down the frame up top, because yeah, you don't want water in your gas. So yeah, we also got to address this thing because it does a lot of mud and water holding. We'll do that another day, but I'm gonna go ahead, get that end piece off, get our extended line, and then I'll show you how I ran it. So here's how I ended up running the vent line for the fuel tank. And yes, I did put Ultra Black on each side of the tube because I'm paranoid, and I know it's probably overkill, but I don't freaking care. I did it anyway. So took the little nipple part off after the check valve that was in the frame. I reused the factory clamp, put our new tube on there, clamped it, then obviously put some Ultra Black on there because it's just gonna be underwater. I don't want it to freaking leak. Paranoid, okay? Anyways, ran our tubing down the outside of the frame, not on the inside where the motor's heat is going to get to it immediately. So we do have some things blocking the heat. Anyways, just ran it through here where things aren't going to be moving or touching or anything. And then I've just got the extra strode over here because all of this is going to be reused. Well, the extra is going to be used with these additional vent lines that are going to be extended. So it's just one piece for now, but that's how I ran her. So now, what is next? Probably cutting some stuff. I don't know. I gotta read the instructions. Quick rant about the instructions. The wording, totally fine, no issues. The pictures, however, holy freaking crap, what am I looking at? At least have like a QR code or something I can scan to see it in color, because I can't make none of that bull crap out. Not necessarily following the instructions, but I want to go ahead and get this guy started because moving all this crap around, I don't want dirt falling in there. So it says the 3-inch to 2-inch adapter coupler. Obviously this is a circle, that is not a circle, but this is apparently going on here. This guy goes in there, and that's definitely going to give us a better angle. Oh yeah, much better angle. Now I guess it's time to start trimming things. So I think a bunch of this has got to be removed for this to drop down to go underneath our frame loop right there. It's got to go down and then up, and I think we have to move a lot of these electronics. So I got all of our little modules and everything flipped up from their position because it says to cut a bunch of this down here, but I know we got to cut some of that there too. But this tube, if it was an inch longer, we shouldn't have to cut this mount because it says to install the 90, and then this guy, which is going to go straight up to our riser, but it can't because it's not quite, this guy is hitting, which obviously we got a connector behind there, so we don't have that much room to play with. Why is this not like an inch longer? What the freaking crap? If that was longer, then this would fit right in here perfectly in this little gap, and it would be all good. So here's a little update on what I ended up cutting. So we have a pipe obviously coming in dead center. The intake, which is, holy crap, a freaking nightmare to get on. I haven't even got it on there yet, and I don't know how that lower portion is gonna seal. Yeah. Anyways, we have this other piece for the exhaust that's gonna come up over this somehow, but yeah, there's what I ended up cutting that out right there. Just be super careful not to cut any wires because there is multiple up underneath. So right now I am basically just trying to barely snug things and get them fitted up into place. Of course, we have to cut the plastics up top, the little hood. There's a bunch more that we have to trim in order to get everything to fit in there properly, but I'm just trying to get it somewhat snugged into place right now. It is extremely tight, and I wanted to ultra black every single joint, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, because how do I freaking get in there and do it unless I take it apart and do it one step at a time? And then anyways, it's a slow go for sure, but we're making progress. Sitting here trying to figure out how to make the intake snorkel work. It is the shortest one. You would think it'd be the easiest one, but it is turning out to be very, very difficult, mainly because there is barely any room to get your hands in there to do anything. But this is all they have for this to go basically down underneath that loop on the frame and then come back up for the risers. But it's two individual pieces. This rubber piece is a 3-inch, as you see, and then this portion, which is already glued onto here, is a 2-inch. And so they have this cut so that you can use the clamps to tighten it down, and it supposedly seals, but obviously when there's no adapter, it's just forced on there. There's a huge gap. So yeah, you could clamp it on there and I could definitely fill it up with ultra black, but pretty freaking sketchy to me. So I ran down to Lowe's and I got this 2-inch adapter, and I'm thinking we just slap that on there. I got the freaking glue stuff, so glue that on, and then we put the rubber piece on there. It's the same 3-inch size, so it's gonna meet together. Or this says 3-inch, but I think it's 2. What is this? Unfortunately, my big brain idea just simply won't work because there is not enough room between the frame and the steering rack mount, whatever you want to call it. So that's why I'm sure they have it necking down to the 2 and they're just using rubber right there, because if you shove this into the end of the rubber and put it up into here, it's hitting that guy underneath and it just won't freaking work. It can't go up. Now, you could have a longer rubber tube. I think that would solve the issue, but whatever the case. Anyways, I ended up shoving her in there, getting it to where I think it is positioned correctly, tighten it down, and then ultra blacken the freaking fire out of this thing, because I'm just fearful that that's going to back off at some point. I mean, your four-wheeler, you're riding its vibrations, it's crazy. Hopefully it's not, but I got her snugged as tight as possible, and then ultra black the outside, the inside, and then obviously even that, so hopefully it doesn't like vibrate loose. So not the prettiest thing, but who freaking cares? That's just, I'm very concerned about the engine getting water in it. The transmission, yeah, your belt will slip, you'll have to clean it out. Not fun, but also not immediately bend the rod, which could definitely happen here. So yeah, we're gonna use all the ultra black on the air intake. Do that on there, tape it on there, and you're gonna cut this out. So that's where your snorkels are gonna come through. And then you do have to cut the like cowl part of your front fenders right up here. I'll show you, but I'm gonna go ahead and get it all knocked out. Try to get these snorkels somewhat situated, and then I'll catch up with y'all. And we still have to go back and do all of our vent lines and our head unit, and there is still several electronics in the back that I haven't gotten to. So got a lot to do, and we're gonna try to get it knocked out today. So I'm not sure if they meant for you to do it this way or remove this and put the outside template on here. Either way, this hole is supposed to line up right here. So I obviously cut out exactly what we're supposed to be cutting out from the plastic. got the bolt in there, taped it down, and now I'm just gonna razor blade the outline on the plastic and then go back with the Dremel and cut it out. So I don't know if you're supposed to do it this way or the other way, but just cut it out somehow. Not gonna lie, this one's gonna hurt a little bit, but you do have to trim the actual plastics. I gotta go back and clean up this cowl, but line that bolt up and that right there, yeah, got a trimmer. So you see my little razor blade line that I cut. Don't cut too much because then it's gonna stick out from under this thing. It's gonna look like garbage. Got another update for y'all. So we have the intake snorkel in. I was able to finagle her all the way in there. She's looking right. I ended up running the wires on this side of the snorkels. A lot of people I saw had them on the back side, which I might run into an issue because all of these wires do move some when you move the handlebars. But I didn't want the wires constantly pushing against the snorkels, potentially pulling that off of the airbox. So I figured it'd be better for them to be on this side, and they're kind of holding it into place. So I've got that computer zip tied here. I've got to zip tie that one into there. This is the intake for the transmission. I have this 90 that connects to here tight, and it's all positioned. No clamp on here yet. Tightened this one down, and then that one is now loose because I'm going to take it out in 2 different pieces and ultra black all the different places. It says 100% glue, but I'm just going to ultra black it anyways. So essentially 2 of them are done, and then once we get those locked into place, everything's zip tied, wires as out of the way as possible. We're going to go ahead and do the exhaust for the transmission, which is essentially just going to come right here and lay over top of these wires. So hopefully there is some play around. Hopefully there is some room to play around with the actual risers once you get the cowl on there, to where these don't exactly have to be, you know, perfect. I'm hoping that's the case. Hopefully it's not too crooked and we have to go back and adjust everything, because I will cry. But yeah, that's her. We're making some progress. We obviously still got to do all the vent lines, so I got to figure out which ones are all here, which there might be some that aren't here that we got to find, and we still got a whole lot of crap. And I forgot where I unplugged this, so I gotta freaking figure that out. Gosh dang it. Part of the journey, I guess. I'll catch up with y'all once we've made some pretty significant progress, I guess. We are definitely looking a lot better now, boys. So we've got all the snorkels in place, and I have all of our vent lines ran to the front. I think all the vent lines. This was the ones that were on the handlebars plus the one from the fuel tank. So I gotta look up some research and see if there's one for the rear diff that is already up here, or if there's not, but I'll just have to figure that out and I'll let y'all know, of course. But I've got all of our snorkels pretty much set into place. Obviously, I've already got them ultra blacked. And I'm hoping they all fit in here properly. So basically now we need to throw the plastics back on to see if I cut enough up there on the cowl. Well, that's not what I was calling the cowl. The cowl's right freaking there. That guy, the hood, whatever you want to call it. I definitely know I got to cut a little bit more with that. But we got to set those into place and see if they line up. If not, I'll trim some more. And then once we do that, obviously that goes on top of it. We can sit that on there, line it up, and then we'll start putting our boots on, and then the risers, and then obviously do all of our vent lines and stuff. And as well, we got to go back with the heat wrap. It says to put that on down here, but I'm not going to mess with it until the ultra black is totally sealed. And I'm guessing it just wants you to put it right there, basically in that bend. Try to keep the engine's heat off of it right there. Well, thankfully, it's starting to feel like we're on the home stretch. I just got done running all of our vent lines, 6 of them in my case. Let me know if you ran more. I snipped them down, and so only the clear should be coming up out of the plastic, should be nice and clean. I did have to run to the hardware store and get a couple more of these because it only came with 3. So I'm not sure what lines they, like, I guess, say are mandatory, or that they just give you the hardware for. I don't freaking know. Either way, we're doing 6 of them, which the pods, the risers, they actually have 2 on the front, 2 on the side, or 1 on each side. So 6 total lines that you can run up on those, which is nice. So we're going to be utilizing the front, 2 on each one. Should look nice and clean. I did not take this guy that runs to the fan off. I don't even know why that's, I don't even know what that is for. It's hooked up to the fan. But either way, we'll be addressing that when we do the radiator relocate. Probably should have done that today with this, but, you know, it is what it is. We'll do it later. I don't think we'll have to take it all back apart to do that. I think it just, anyways. I did have to push this guy in a little bit farther, which it's just that guy, rotate it in. as tight as possible on the frame. That way your plastics will clear. This guy's butted up right there against it. Got it all tightened underneath. This guy is on. I did ultra black it. Need to have a counter on screen how many times I've said that, but everything should be good. Plastics are all cut. I did trim them up a little bit more, so I'm hoping I'm done aside from putting it all back together. So that is what I'm gonna go ahead and do, is slap all of our plastics back on, push pins, screws, headlights, everything. And then we'll put our little collars on, the risers and the tubes in there. I'll catch up with y'all after and let you know if I run into any issues. So I'm sure y'all already saw the B-roll. So yes, we did end up getting done, but I wanted to give y'all a little update before we went riding on exactly what all I finished up doing. So before throwing the tire back on, where you really can't see anything, I put the old heat wrap on there and got our splash guard on, which I guess the last time y'all saw it, it didn't even have plastics on it. So yeah, I put all the plastics back on, but I didn't think the splash guards were gonna be able to be reused, but they 100% are, and they kind of work as like a little holder. So hopefully they'll hold that guy. None of it's loose at all. It's all very nice and secure. But you know, the old 29.5 is going to be kind of close to that. So as tucked away and shielded as possible, it's definitely going to be a good thing. Now, I was not able to get these things perfectly centered straight across. I don't know how everybody else was doing it, but dude, I fought with it forever, moving wires here, there, everywhere, trying to figure it out. And I just couldn't get it to happen. So since the center one was trying to get pushed forward and the outside too, I could pull back, I decided to just go ahead and zip tie them like that and twist the outside sideways. So it's, I guess, a non-conventional look, but I think it looks really freaking cool. And yes, it might be detrimental because I guess technically if this was, you know, straight, you'd have about another inch that you could lay the bike over if you did get into some ruts and stuff. So yeah, it's probably not quite, but I mean, it is what it is. So I'm gonna leave it like that. This being the intake for the engine, intake for the transmission, exhaust for the transmission. Took a lot of wires apart, put back together. So yeah, hopefully she runs. Future Chase here, because I forgot to mention this earlier on in the video, but if you're gonna go seat deep at least, even if it's just for water wheelies and stuff, go ahead and pop you a couple holes in this splash guard because it's gonna accumulate like tons of mud and water and stuff, and it's better for it to be able to drain out itself. There's a few drain holes, but they don't work right. So this is a good spot right here that holds water. So I popped the hole there, there, and there. Do be careful. There's wires and a fuel tank underneath this. So don't go too deep and be careful. That corner right there, it holds water where it can't drain into the battery. And I popped the hole there. And then underneath the battery, there's actually one hole right here, but it gets clogged up super easy. So I just took the drill and basically hold this entire slit out. So it is allowing mud and gravel and stuff to get out much easier. Of course, dielectric grease, all of your crap right here. Don't forget, fuses and all. Do it. Got this little smoke machine from Amazon. You just hook up an air compressor to it, give it power to your battery, and then actually put baby oil in it, oddly enough, and she's starting to crank up. Comes with a couple of these little plugs, which I've got into our intake, which is the main thing that I want to triple check is not leaking. So we're gonna go over here and stuff it in to our intake, cover it with my hand. Holy crap, she's freaking rolling. Cover it best I can. And just look in here. If there's any smoke coming out, it's gonna be easier to do with two hands, but yeah, as you can see, she produces quite a bit of smoke. And as long as we don't see any coming out under the fender or in this gap, whew, that stinks. We should be airtight. I've been patiently waiting all morning for this moment right here. The sun is slipping behind the cloud. We're about to have a little bit of a break from the 95 degrees, feels like 115 bull crap. It's also sprinkling. Let's freaking go. Look at this big mamacita. Yeah, please be slapped full of rain and not lightning, because I don't want to get stuck out there in a thunderstorm. But we got the swimmy zone, we got the Crocs on. Let's throw the helmet on. Let's go hit the swamp. All right, boys, we just made it to the swamp. She's not too full, but we're gonna go ahead and play around. And then we're definitely going through underneath the bridge, or the... Oh, she's steaming. Oh, we're... Well... Come on, baby. Oh, she's just sinking down. Put her in 4-wheel. Yeah, this crap is just super sinky. The loose gravelish bottom. We're gonna get us a little momentum. Try it in 2-wheel. Whoa. Woo! Woo! We are covered. Let's go! Eating, baby! Woo! That's what I'm talking about, Brute. Oh, I'm soaking wet. All up in my back. Woo! That's so much fun. I should have checked all of this, like the inside and the backside, before we got it all muddy, because now I obviously cannot see. But we're just gonna give it our best shot and at least go inside. I want to do like a wheelie out of it, but we'll have to see if that's possible. Alright, we're getting up to her. Oh, sweet goodness. Come on, baby, pull. Okay. This is either going to be good or bad. We're pulling diff lock. Okay. We're going to have to bump her. I feel like we're going to have to bump her, and I'm hopefully not going to hit my head. Oh, it's just not going to happen. There's a huge concrete ledge right here. Is that a bat? That's a freaking bat. Oh, don't come this way. Actually do, that'd be sick, but don't get me. Oh, it went in a hole. Oh, jeez. All right, well, do we try one more time? This is where it either works or it goes worse than ever. Okay, come on. Oh, it's just pulling. It ain't. We're gonna break a freaking axle. That was an absolute blast, but I think it's time we try to get up to the upper swamp where we could not get into last time, but I'm hoping that the mud that was drained out where the water was drastically lowered last time is actually going to be hard enough for us to get into the water. So that is the goal. Oh, ramped that tree. If I can remember how to get back here and we also don't rip our snorkels off with tree branch, we're gonna try to get up in here and get in some water and hopefully not get stuck. All right, first time going up in here. Oh, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get past that log right there. Oh man, it looks so freaking bad too. All right, well, crap. Beaver cages, traps look like they're gone. So I guess whoever came out here and did their dirty work
cleaned up after themselves. Let's see if we can squeeze through here. It's gonna be a tight one. Dude, that is such the same bull crap. Oh yeah, it's just, oh man, your boy's a little scared, I ain't gonna lie. That looks freaking sick. But this is that stuff that I'm talking about. It's just like gravel, rock, and you just dig straight down and there's no bottom to get on. So this is a heavy four-wheeler to yank out by myself, but we're gonna give her a shot and hopefully not regret it. All right, we're easing out. We're just gonna paddle along. This definitely looks like it gets deep. Oh yeah, we're sinking. We are currently sinking. If I can get out of this thing. I just walked it all, and it gets super deep over there, and you can kind of see, thankfully it's clearing up, there's a big like cone, which is actually rocks, which you definitely don't want to, you know, wheelie onto, flip your four-wheeler, break your frame, all kind of things. It's also really bad. Part mud, part rock with no bottom, like that gravel crap. And we're going to try to snake our way around where we rode before, and then just, oh sweet gosh, we don't want to get into any absolute peanut butter over here. No winch, no backup plan, nothing. Also don't want to hit a stump. I think there was one. So right there. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Ooh, that sounded like my plastics. Oh gosh. Holy crap. All right. Let's back up a smidge and we're gonna freaking go, boys. Full drive is on, in low. That's not freaking good. Come on, baby. Dig on out of there. I told you there ain't no freaking bottom. I've lost my crock 15 times, and this rock, dude, this rock hurts so freaking bad, but it's got incredible suction, but it hurts so bad. Even at the risk of heat stroking, I should have wore the freaking waders. The sound increase from these snorkels is pretty huge. You hear a ton more of the transmission for sure. I didn't really lock in too hard when we were exhaust under the water to see about the intake noise from the engine, but I'm sure it's noticeable as well. And then you do, of course, spider on my face, you know, you have air blowing out from right there for the exhaust for the trans. Making my way downtown. This is when you get too excited and you forget about a root that's sticking out and it freaking yeets you clean into East Buddha and you die. Let's go. Just absolutely eating, baby. Whoa. About went a little rolly right there, boys. Oh, that was sick. Man, the freaking offset on these wheels with the Outlaws, they just cover you. It just freaking covers you. Holy crap.
I know we didn't go handlebar deep or any of the Honda things, but we did go pretty deep on her, and of course we did some pretty good splashing. So we want to check to see if our snorkel system actually worked, of course. So for starters, I'm gonna try to just leave out here and we will pull the plug for the trans. Nothing, dry as a freaking bone. Absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's a freaking mess. All right. Now, I didn't put any dielectric grease on here, and we just have the factory seal. Oh, she's freaking bone dry. That's just a little oil residue from the filter. Bone freaking dry. Y'all let me know on the BruteForces, do y'all just dielectric grease
your lid? Do you do nothing? You leave it just OEM seal? Do you got a aftermarket seal you go with? Or what? I don't know. Let me freaking know. Let's see. She's still intact. Everything is there. Definitely got her dirty, but man, it's so much more fun. Well, I say it. It sucks riding in that gravel stuff because it honestly hurts to ride in, but it's a lot easier to clean up rather than going through mud, because honestly, I'm gonna spend like 10 minutes pressure washing this thing and it's gonna be spotless, versus when we go through the actual holes, it's like 2 hours of pulling grass out from everywhere and mud, and not fun. That was plenty deep for us to actually need snorkels, and especially with all the splashing, that's an easy way to get it like into all of your different intakes and exhaust. You need snorkels. So I had a blast, man. Definitely the funnest ride that I've done so far, and that was just because I felt confident enough to just freaking lay on the throttle and have fun. Not really worried about it splashing water in there, or if it does get deep like it did multiple times, not to totally freak out, because we're all right. We got sealed snorkels, hopefully. Anyways, y'all drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, ring that bell notification. I'll have everything linked in the description if you want to pick any of it up for yourself. With that said, I'll see y'all boys in the next one.